welcome to the Regular Joe's podcast. I'm Dave Pisani.
I'm Barry Kay.
And I'm Todd Pleasant.
The 10th anniversary rolls on, but not really tonight, since we're not doing anything about 10th anniversary, but we'll get to more. Right?
Right.
Oh, yeah, of course.
We have all kinds of ideas.
We've got things planned. We just got to spread it out. We can't...
I was lying about having ideas, and you're blatantly
now
lying
you're just
about
laying
having...
it on thick there, Barry.
No,
We're definitely going to do a movie that has something to do with 10.
Oh, yeah.
I think it should be 10 million years.
We actually have a running list of ideas.
Yes,
you
that's
keep
true.
pretending we don't, but we do.
Okay. Let me know what those are.
At least I have a running list. I don't know if either of you
Terrific.
do.
Anyway, it's 10 years and
10 years
4
and a
days
couple days
as we
yeah.
record this.
I think we should be soft. I think we should be soft celebrating until we hit episode 500. So just kind
Why
of like
not?
periodically just revisit the...
That's soon-ish.
Yeah. I know that.
think it's.
That's what I'm
You
saying.
said
Just
it last week, Dave. This is like Disney. Disney celebrates their 100th year for like 18 months.
That's
So
what I'm saying.
months.
Just
Yes,
kinda,
they do.
we'll just revisit it periodically until we hit 500. Then that's the big one for which we still have no plan.
we're going to keep
Yes.
reminding the listening audience that we've been doing this for 10 years.
That's
for
right.
a while.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we will. I'm waiting for... We should have waited for 11 so we could say these go to 11.
that's right.
But
Well, that gives us something to do next year.
there we go.
It
Perfect.
does.
Perfect. So today is a little bit of a hodgepodge of a couple different things. Some of us went to some things. We watched some stuff. You know, the usual. But we'll get into all that stuff.
It's like a week in the life of the regular Joes.
Yeah.
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 If it, if
If
it
you just
includes
worked
having...
and didn't leave home, that would be part
having
of it.
swabs of noses and throats. That's what I had today because I have a little bit of a little under the weather, but I'm here for you anyway. So let's go some random. Barry, what do you got?
Natalie Portman was being interviewed by GQ, and they did one of those things where she goes on the internet and answers questions that people wrote about her as herself, and of course they filmed her doing it. Two interesting things I thought though came out of it. One, she said that from the set of Attack of the Clones, she stole one of Anakin's braids. She took it home with her, but then she lost it, so she doesn't have it anymore. Which I just thought was funny. The other thing, which I find interesting, is she says, on the topic of her coming back to Star Wars, she said no one has ever asked her, but she's open to it.
She's dead.
She's dead.
Yeah, well, so's Anakin, but they showed him in a flashback in Obi-Wan, so anything's possible.
I mean, I guess you could.
I guess.
You know, you could have her show up to him as like a vision and be de-aged and stuff like that.
Or if it's another sequence that they're doing some live-action thing from the Clone Wars era, she could be there.
I don't think she needs to be de-aged though. She still looks.
She still looks like a kid. Yeah, she still looks exactly the same.
But you know what I'm saying? It's
She's also another one that I thought had, at the time, wanted to distance herself from it, and now she's like, nah, I would do it again if they asked.
Why not?
oh yeah, you know how much money she would get for doing almost nothing?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
and it's like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm all for that. Todd, what do you got?
There's a new trailer for Secret Invasion that looks really good.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
I don't think I watched it. I'm trying to not watch trailers.
Yeah, you should watch it. It's good. It looks really good. And some new stuff, some old stuff, but
Maybe I did watch it. I don't remember.
it seems very much focused on Nick Fury, much more than I expected. I mean, I expected they were going to...
Oh, I did see the trailer because he's like, why? They're like, why don't you call your like super friends? And then he's like,
yes.
I'm the only one who
Yeah.
could do this.
Oh, I didn't see that. I'll have to watch it.
I did watch it.
Yeah,
I did
and
watch
like I said, it's just I'm kind of quietly excited for this show. So,
it. I think it looks very good.
yeah. The other thing I had, which is not a big thing, but did either of you see the Arnold Schwarzenegger Netflix thing?
No, I did see
there's an
article
ad
on it.
where there's a new Netflix ad where he's kind of the mock head of action for Netflix because he's got a new Netflix movie that's coming out, and he's the chief action officer. He's basically walking through all the productions, and he just walks through all the upcoming productions and more explosions, and it's like it's got to be bigger. He arrives for work driving a tank and parks on top of the
nice.
car that was parked in front of the Netflix building,
Oh, that's funny.
It's pretty.
He's got what's
funny.
his new show called? Something.
Fubar.
Yeah.
So
He
anyway,
did an interview in Hollywood Reporter where he's at the point where he just speaks his mind. They were like, they were going to do a twin sequel, and he's like, that stupid Jason Reitman just pulled the plug on that because they were going to do supposedly it was in the works of Danny DeVito, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Eddie Murphy as,
I remember
as triplets.
I think we talked about that like a year ago.
Yeah, but when Ivan passed, Jason's like, nah, we're not going to do that.
Somebody did a deep fake that I watched online that was hilarious. They took Arnold Schwarzenegger and put him into Ferris Bueller's Day Off as Ferris, and it's the whole sequence where he's taking the shower and doing the shampoo horn, and he's talking about I could have been the walrus, but I still wouldn't have a car. But it's done with Arnold's face and Arnold's voice, and it's hilarious.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
that is pretty good. I was going to think of that was going to lead me to something, but I don't remember. Anyway, so while we're here, they did announce 2 Marvel series premieres. Loki Season 2, and I have a little tidbit with each. Loki Season 2, October 6th. And they've showed some footage. I guess Kevin Feige showed some footage to some people. There is no mention or discussion of Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, I had a feeling he was being written out of things.
That's a thing.
How excuse me, how effed up is it going to be if they just de-Kangify the entire Marvel universe now?
Honestly, if they didn't say he's the next bad guy and he just sort of ended with he just ended with Ant-Man and Quantum, fine. He was a mediocre.
So
right,
really,
but
we just have
said he's
every
the next
Marvel
big bad.
film that comes to make, you just cut back into post credits of Scott Lang waiting for something to happen, but nothing happens, and that's
So who knows? I mean, honestly, I'm all for it. I don't know what the dude's deal is. I don't care.
I
thought the character was
I heard
weak.
he's in some kind of trouble, but I never researched or read to see what the hell kind of trouble
Supposedly,
he's in.
he hit or beat women, or I don't know. And allegedly, I don't know anything.
Yes.
But I don't blame him. But your character sucks. I say good riddance.
Okay.
And then the other show, so Echo, they said premieres November 29th. So I guess it leads from one to the next, I guess. And Kevin Feige reportedly said the show was unreleasable until they reshot most of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't.
That's not Kevin Feige. That's like a source.
And that's what I'm saying. And I don't feel like that's a very Kevin Feige thing to say. I kind of doubt that. I don't doubt that's the case.
I don't think Feige would have said that.
That's what I'm
No,
saying.
I don't know that he said it.
I don't
think
doubt
it
that's
was
the
to
case.
the
I
studio.
doubt the attribution.
Yeah, I don't remember. They said something. I don't know if they said he said, but I don't doubt.
I read that
movie
too.
is a freaking
Yeah, I
mess.
read it too in a couple other places, but I would bet somebody else involved in the production could have said that. I also think, again, putting a series on a deaf actress who's really got no acting history other than,
Who's not even an actress.
that's what I'm saying,
Yeah,
got no acting history other than that, is a tall order. Okay, when you've got a balanced time with 2 other very established characters.
yeah.
It's how you not inevitably get the criticism about the show being called Echo, but the other characters overshadow her when
That's a toughie.
it's tough. So I mean, we'll see, but yeah, I read that too. I have read previously that there was just massive reshoots for that show. So
Yeah.
how
do you not know? That's what I don't get is, well, I also think, I'll answer my own question. I don't get how that happens in this day and age. How do you have to, at the point where you have to reshoot everything when you should know during production? And I've been on movies that have been like, we don't know what we're doing, that we're 2 weeks behind and we've only shot 2 weeks and they've replaced people. But like, especially in this day and age of instantaneous dailies, like you don't know where you are, and I think part of the answer is
I also think with that show and that concept, they should have known well in advance what that was all going to be about. Like, 'cause why would you announce a show with that name based on that character without having a solid plan?
And I think it's a really good character. It was a really good character in the comics. A lot of things don't carry over from what they had. So I think. I also think
I think they
a
put
TV
these
series
new
is very
directors
different than
in
a
charge.
movie, Dave. Where a movie, you got a very narrow parameters that you're going to operate within.
Yeah.
And I think you could be filming because episodes are filmed out of order. I think you could be starting to put the show together and say, "Wow, this is not good," and we're not.
And maybe Feige only sees it a month in or something.
That's
I mean,
what
it's
I'm
also
saying.
possible, and I don't want to say that this is the case, but because she is a relatively inexperienced actress, it could be that they got pretty far into it and realized something wasn't working, and they needed to go back and retool the show to make it less about her.
Story is bad, and think about this, okay? I think they know they don't want a Boba Fett. They do not want a TV series where the thing you're looking forward to most is when he's not on screen, where it's wow, could we have more Mando? And I think that's what they're up against with this show. People want to see Daredevil and Wilson Fisk going at it. And if everything else isn't as strong as that, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
Well,
and
they never should have called the show Echo and made it a Daredevil and Kingpin show. I mean,
but again, it may not be Barry, and that's what I'm saying. If we get half an hour of those guys going at it at some point in the show, and obviously it's not going to resolve anything because there's a later series. There's going to be a lot of people disappointed having watched 6 episodes of lead up.
Well,
I just don't know what they saw.
All I'm going to say is I really like both the characters of Falcon and Winter Soldier, and that show didn't work for me. I really like the character of Loki, and that show didn't really work for me. So
and here you got a character
I have no attachment to Echo whatsoever. I'm already going in pretty dubious about that show.
Yeah, what made them think that could be a series? There was nothing on screen that ever made you think that character was anyone cared if they ever saw her again.
You go ahead, say what you want.
On screen, Todd, not in a comic book.
I'm telling you, in the comic book, it is a very interesting, compelling character that is not this person.
Right.
I would look.
Dave
But
and
I'm
I are
saying, I would look at the source material and say you could totally run with this and make this a really interesting character. But that's not where they went with it.
Right.
They tried to check other boxes.
Just what we saw on screen, I did not need to see more of that character.
I did not at all.
Yeah,
not at all. Anyway, we'll see in a few months. Barry, you got anything else?
Yeah, I got 2 quick things. This I just found really interesting. You guys are both familiar with the Wilhelm scream, right? It's that sort of famous scream. So an audio engineer at USC actually was been archiving all the tapes that they have in the USC sound library. They found the original recording session tapes for the Wilhelm scream.
Oh, really?
And they posted a clip of it online where you actually hear the director telling the actor, he does 4 different takes, and one of them is clearly the one that they use, and he's even coaching the actor who's doing the session, saying, no, you're supposed to be getting bit by an alligator. It's less of an ouch and more of a like scream, and then he gets him to do the scream. It's actually pretty wild.
Do we know who the actor is now?
I say sabotage.
He doesn't say sabotage.
Yes,
but apparently the USC has all the tapes from a company called Hollywood Sunset Editorial, which was a sound effects library company from 1964 to 1987, and they're the ones that when that library got donated, I guess this session was in with those tapes. So it's on. You can Google it. It's available for free online. It's like a 39-second clip. But it's got like 4 or 5 takes, and one of them is clearly the one. And that sound effect, for anybody that doesn't know, has been used in every movie, probably any action movie, and then some that you've ever seen.
And intentionally, because like I
Yes.
said, you've got to include. It's like it's being like a badge of honor thing. You've got to include the
Ben
Wilhelm
Burtt
scream.
started it with he found that sound and used it in Star Wars and Indiana Jones, and it's become almost like a sound meme.
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it's used everywhere.
Absolutely. Do we know who the actor is?
They do actually,
Because that was
and
previously it wasn't known.
No, it is because it's actually the same actor that played the character that in the movie that it's from.
Okay.
Whose name his character's name was Wilhelm in the movie.
Okay.
And he was being bit by an alligator in the movie, and that's so. I didn't write down the name of the movie and the name of the actor, but they do have all that.
Okay.
So I thought that was interesting, and yeah, you Google that; it's out there. The other thing I wanted to mention. The actor Todd Stashwick, who played Captain Shaw on Picard,
Yes.
he's interviewed on a podcast that I listened to. That was a great interview. It's Rebel Force Radio podcast. It's a Star Wars podcast, but they did almost a whole episode on him, and it was a great interview. So I just thought I would throw it out there for anybody that liked that show and liked that character. Look it up. It's the most recent episode of Rebel Force Radio. It's like an hour-long interview with the guy. It's really good. He is a total nerd fanboy, like Star Wars fan from back in the day. He's a big Dungeons and Dragons player. Like he's totally one of us, but he happens to be an actor. So I thought it was actually kind of a cool interview.
Cool.
Last thing, supposedly Bob Iger said when asked if there'll be more at Indiana Jones, he said, "We'll see," which is interesting.
I thought they've been saying all along that the character, this is the sunset of the character with Harrison, and
If this does $1 billion, we'll see.
Well, and look, I just told you guys off the air. I just got my tickets. I'm all excited for it. I've seen headlines that I refuse to read
I
articles
refuse to watch or see.
Yeah,
look
I've
at
seen a couple
anything,
things
but I
too
wanna
recently.
hear
There were
it.
full-on reviews out there already for this movie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't care. There's
No,
a lot of
I don't
clickbait
either.
out there. A lot of clickbait. You know who's awesome? Fanboy Collectibles. Check them out. FanboyCollectibles.com. Magneto helmet from Hasbro. I think it's tied into X-Men 97, which
Yes.
I know they're releasing, but that
And
Magneto
updating, yeah.
helmet looks cool.
Yep.
yeah, it looks really cool.
Yeah.
I definitely like that. Up for pre-order, Hot Toys Star-Lord joins Rocket and Cosmo that came out last week, so I guess they'll be releasing the Guardians of the Galaxy guys and girls.
Interesting. It seems like they're slow rolling them out. They didn't like push them all out there. in
Yeah,
one
but
shot,
they
so.
did preview all of them as a group, kind of in half lit, and so it's interesting to. And I think that's probably smart, particularly on pre-order. Because I think if you put 5 out at one time, people would pick and choose more.
Yeah,
and
that
right.
makes sense.
Yeah, a little more increment.
makes
I'd say
sense.
one thing
Todd, did-
that's very cool is he's now got some of the X06 Spock Colonar figures, which we all bought. And
Oh, he has them in stock?
he's got them in stock now.
Good.
Yeah, because they had re-released. They had released more of them.
Yep. And so he's
excellent.
got and that is something we all got, and it is just awesome.
And we all love that figure. So,
if
yes,
you
you missed it, get
Did
it.
not get one. Don't pay $700 in the secondary market, as some people did. They've got them in stock. So
Yeah.
And Todd, I'm sure you saw the So Toys Unbreakable figure, which is really invincible, but not
worst
in,
name
not
ever
listed.
for a company, but really, they make really great stuff. And
They make good stuff. They just shouldn't call themselves So.
So must mean something in a different language.
Yeah, it might.
very
It
like
might.
this. I'm seriously thinking about this. I think this is really cool. I know somebody who's got the I forgot what they called the dad. What?
Oh yeah, they didn't
not
call
Omni
him-
Man. It was something like
Right.
yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
But the Omni Man figure, and it's really good. It's the it's and they're kind of it's like they did like Hot Toys did with the animated figures. It made basically realistic versions of them. And it's the same thing, but the translations are very, very good. And like I said, the Omni Man was great. I expect this is just as good. And there's pretty much like 2 figures here. When there's the very kind of battle damage, beat the crap version, and then the other stuff. So I'd kind of be tempted to get this and the Omni-Man and just like hang them playing catch. So very cool.
So check it out. That's for pre-order. Also, a Harry Potter sorting hat.
I was just going to mention that. That's
interactive
actually really
Noble
cool.
collection.
Really cool.
That's cool. Interesting. So check them out, fanboycollectibles.com. Check them out at their store in Newtown, Connecticut. Tell them the regular Joe sent you. Okay, we have a couple of live events that we went to. Nothing miraculous, but I'll just do mine quickly. So this
go
week,
for it.
So Heritage has a big auction coming up with the Commissar collection that we mentioned, I think, last week. So he's a big TV collector of TV memorabilia all the way back from like the black and white era up through 70s, 80s. It seems like 90s. He's got Batman's original outfit. He's got Batman and Robin, I Dream of Jeannie, the bottles, all kinds of stuff. So that auction is coming up in June, and I bid on the site and stuff, so I was invited with a million other people to a reception they had in the city, and it wasn't that out of my way, so I'm like, I'll just go.
And I was supposed to meet you there, and I couldn't. My schedule.
And thankfully you didn't, because Barry and I both went to the Bonhams preview, which was almost at the same location across the street. And that's where we saw Robbie the Robot like 5-6 years ago. And they had the whole auction was there. Everything
from the whole auction was at that preview.
In my head, I thought, oh, wow, I can't wait to see everything. So I get there, and there's this like 2, maybe 20 by 20 rooms with a handful of things, and almost like a fraction of the 1,000 things they were auctioning off. So I was a little disappointed. I put pictures in the text. They're not there anymore. Well, I will put pictures in the text so you can see the handful of things that were there. And they had a couple of actors from The Sopranos. I don't really know exactly who they all were. But that seemed to be the draw, and there was media people there. Like the news and stuff. So I guess that was the whole idea of this, But I saw the Bat phone, I saw a Batarang, I saw Batgirl's gloves, I saw what else? Riddler suit, which is interesting because I didn't send the close up. Here's the close up of it. It looks like the question marks on the Riddler were drawn on with a magic marker. Which is, that's how they did it. I mean, Batman's emblem was painted onto a piece of cardboard. That's what the Batman emblem was.
Well, and let's face it, back then the resolution on TV was so bad that it didn't matter.
What else? So I thought it was funny. There was a chair back from, I guess it was NYPD Blue or CSI or whatever, one of David Caruso, Mr. Difficult. We remember hearing he was a difficult dude. That was back in the 90s. Seinfeld costumes they had, and then they had All in the Family, the 2 chairs. He's got the Archie Bunker and Edith chairs. That was really the extent of what was at this place. It's David Letterman's desk, too. So, no Batman costumes. The guy had the original Bat Shield. No Genie stuff, so I literally spent 10 minutes.
He's got Trek stuff too, right? I mean,
he's got a ton of Trek stuff. Yeah, none of that was there.
None of it was there. Okay.
So it was, it would have been cool to see some of that stuff, but they didn't have it there.
How long? I mean, how much time did you actually spend at?
I was there like 10 minutes. That was it.
That was it. Okay.
I walked around, took a couple pictures. They were serving cocktails. I didn't even bother. I could care less about the Soprano guys, and. Took a couple pictures. I'm like, is there another room? Like, no, this is it. Okay, I'll get a train.
All right. Well, hey, at least you made it. I mean, I'm after you texted me, I was glad I didn't make the trip all the way in. It would have been a
hassle for you to get there to see nothing. Then we would have gone out for like a steak or something.
Then we would have got dinner. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, it was what it was. But check out that auction catalog if you haven't. There is a lot of cool stuff. There's like you said, Star Trek, Batman, I Dream of Jeannie. Green Hornet, like all Bewitched.
And then a lot of obscure things too, like things from like classic TV commercials and things.
Yeah,
like, there's a lot of really fun stuff in that catalog.
Yeah. So check that thing out. So That was my adventure for a Thursday night.
All right. Well, I'll tell you about my adventure for what was supposed to be Saturday, but ended up being Sunday.
And I was supposed to meet you.
You were supposed to meet me, and then
and I couldn't. And thank God, because I have strep throat now, and I probably would have given it to you and Tom.
Yes. So I went to an event called Trek Long Island, which was a Long Island Star Trek convention. It was the first time they've ever done it. It was literally could not have been more convenient. It was 15 minutes from my house. And like your event on Thursday, Dave, if you had come all the way down for it, I think you would have been disappointed. It wasn't really very big. So, I mean, I went, our buddy and friend of the show, Tom Spina, met me there, and the two of us went. They had some decent Star Trek actors there and stuff, but the dealer's room was pretty small. I will say with that, I was able to buy one of you a Christmas gift, so that was good. Something I thought was really cool and unique and I had never seen before. But yeah, I mean, Mego was there and they had a big table set up, but nothing that I was super interested in. There was a lot of, as you would imagine, a lot of Playmate Star Trek figures to be had.
Oh, God.
And then there were some celebrities there, so I'll talk about who was there. A bunch of Discovery people. The guy that played the Admiral, Oded Hare. I don't know how to pronounce it. The guy that played Booker was there. And two other actors or actresses from Discovery who, I'll be honest with you, I'm sure they were on the show. I wouldn't have been able to pick them out of a lineup. The guy that played Hemmer from Strange New Worlds was there. And I thought that was actually kind of cool. They had the kid that played young Spock in Star Trek 3 there, all grown up now. The kid that was running around the planet as young. Yeah. Robin Curtis was supposed to be there. I never saw her. Maybe she was there. Maybe she wasn't. And then there was sort of the group of original series actresses that were there. Sandra Lee Gimple, who played the Salt Vampire in The Man Trap, was there.
She was in the costume, or she was the old lady?
She was the woman in the costume. So she wasn't the actress that you saw on TV. She wasn't Nancy
Crater. She was the...
Yeah, she was the stunt performer in the Salt Vampire suit.
I always assumed that was a dude.
No, it wasn't. The actress that played Kaya in Wolf in the Fold, she was there. Tanya Lamani.
Don't remember that one.
There was an episode called Alana of Troyes.
Yes, yep.
And the woman who played Alana, or Alan, was there, Frances Nguyen.
I remember her.
Yep.
And then Barbara Luna, who played Marlena in Mirror Mirror, was there.
Yeah, sure. She's made the rounds a bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I had intended, and it's funny, and I talked to Tom about this, my thought process was, well, I have that Star Trek Discovery poster that's signed by, like, most of the cast, so maybe I'll bring that and add on these extra people. And that was my thought, like, the day before. And then the morning of, I'm like, I don't really like that show. I don't really want to spend the money to get those people to sign my poster.
Fair enough.
So, and I was going to get the actor that played Hemmer, because remember we got those Strange New Worlds mini posters?
Sure.
One of our friends sent them to us. And I was like, I don't really want to start that. So I was like, I'll get all the TOS actresses. I'll get their I'm sure they're going to have photos at the table and whatever. I got to be honest, I was a little surprised. And we all sort of set these limits in our heads of how much we're willing to spend for an autograph.
Yes.
They all felt, almost all of them felt like they were just more than I was willing to pay.
Like, how much were they?
They were like $40, and then it was, if you wanted one of their table photos, it was like an extra $5. I was like, $45 for the woman in the Salt Vampire costume?
That's a lot, considering the Star Trek actors, except for maybe Shatner, they tend to cap themselves at $60. Like,
right.
you can get, I think you can still get Riker.
The big ones, right.
At $60. You can pay $45 for Salt Vampire Lady?
That was kind of why I felt like...
I'm with you.
But then I get to Barbara Luna, and she was $30, and I felt like, hey, she's at least in my one of my favorite episodes of all time. She's a main character in that episode, like she plays an important part. So I went for the Barbara Luna autograph. It's funny. Todd told them a picture. I could have gotten that picture signed. Instead, I went for what I felt was the more classic, her holding the phaser.
Yeah. No, that's great. Totally it.
So, and she's a lovely lady. She's also 84 years old.
Yeah.
I was like, well, depending on Google says she's 86. Memory Alpha says she's 84. I'm going with a younger number. It was actually pretty funny because it was $40. It was $30, and then if you paid an extra $10, you could take a picture with her. So Tom and I were both like, well, let's just throw in the extra $10 and we'll get a picture with her. So, and I mean this with the utmost respect. So what happened was she didn't remember me giving her the 30. And when I went to give her the 10, she thought I was only giving her $10. And thankfully her handler was like, no, he already paid you the 30. It's okay. But right next to her table, they had a captain's chair. And I just texted you guys a picture. She insisted on me sitting in a captain's chair and her sitting on my lap.
Oh my!
For the photo. So I just texted you the picture. We can post this, but she's sitting on my lap. Tom Spina sitting next to me.
That's a nice captain. That's a nice captain's chair.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. But it was just funny because she was like, well, do you want to take it in front of the table or in the captain's chair? And I'm like, no, in front of the table is fine. She's like, no, we're coming to the captain's chair.
Barry making time with the captain's woman.
For an 84-year-old woman, she's spry. She had no problem hopping up on my lap.
Yeah, you could do worse if you're into the octogenarians.
Totally. It's just so funny because I told Maria, I'm like, I took a picture with an actress sitting on my lap today. And she's like, really? I'm like, yeah, let me show you. She's like, yeah, okay, that's fine.
That's fine, yeah, no problem.
But she was actually, it was couldn't have been nicer. There were a few other people, and what's weird was they had sort of the old school Trek actors and a few people in one room, and then up on the main floor they had the newer people. So Doug Jones was up there. I didn't mention him. Yeah. Tom, I guess, knows Doug a little bit and wanted to just go over and say hello. And there was kind of like some of these other local shows you and I have been to, Dave. There was no lines for anybody. I mean, I kind of felt bad, right? We walked right up to Doug Jones. Tom introduced himself, and Doug knows our friend Gordon. So they were talking.
Yeah.
And then Doug, as we're sort of wrapping up, goes to give Tom this big giant hug. And, Doug Jones is very tall.
Yeah.
So he's like hugging and like patting Tom on the back of the head because Tom's not nearly as tall. So then he's like, Barry, you come here. So then next thing I know, Doug Jones has wrapped himself around me. He's giving me this big hug. He's patting me on the back of the head. Couldn't have been nicer. He was
that's
really,
cool.
really
That's
cool.
A nice moment.
The guy that played Elnor on Picard was there on this floor. The girl that played Soji was there. I gotta tell you, in person, very, very, very nice.
Really?
Yes.
You have pictures of all the stuff you can share with us?
I didn't take pictures of them. J.G. Hertzl was there, who plays Martok on Deep Space Nine.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was the Klingon guy. So we could have been in and out of this place in probably 30 minutes, but we decided we're here.
Yeah.
So we sat in on a couple panels. We sat in and listened to J.G. Hertzler talk for a while. The panel that I was actually most excited by is a guy named Alan Howarth, who's the sound designer and composer. He did the special effects the sound design and special effect sounds for Star Trek: The Motion Picture, a bunch of the other Star Trek movies, and he writes a lot of the music with John Carpenter for all John Carpenter's movies.
Oh, that's cool.
And he was showing a really cool presentation where he was sort of breaking down the sound effects in scenes and telling you what he'd used and how he created them and stuff. So I thought it was actually really cool. And then afterwards, Tom and I went over to his table and we talked to him for like 20 minutes. So all in all, we had a really good time. And, we were there for a couple hours and, it was worthwhile. We kind of, I don't want to say forced ourselves to spend more time there than we might have, but...
Yeah, but you're there. I give them credit. I mean, not that they, they had some pretty good guests considering it's a way out on Long Island first show, you know? I mean...
Tom and I were kind of joking because, like, a lot of the signage was, like, oak tag that was handwritten on and stuff.
Really? That's like old school Trek.
It's very old school Trek
that's
convention.
Cool.
When we went to the room where we'll call it A-list celebrities were, there was a woman there greeting us when we walked into the room. She's like, who are you here to see? And we're like, well, nobody. We're just kind of wanting to walk around. And there was no line control of any kind. Like, if they had another 1,000 people show up, it would have been chaos. Like, even if they had another 100 people show up, it might have been chaos.
How was the crowd, would you say? I mean...
It was pretty light. Well, it was okay. I think that the Saturday here was just horrible, horrible weather, and I think that's what kept a lot of people away Saturday. And then Sunday felt like it would have been a lighter day anyway. But two other things I just wanted to mention, because they had a whole podcasting section, and Tom and I actually went and talked to a bunch of the people. So there's a podcast called Strange New Pod, and it focuses on past, present, and future of Star Trek. They were really fun to talk to. And there's another one that's called the Big Sci-Fi Podcast, where they talk about Trek and a whole bunch of other stuff. And Tom and I spent a little bit of time with both of those crews, and they were cool. So
that's cool.
Worth
Sounds like a
mentioning.
good, worthwhile show. I mean,
Yeah, it was a good afternoon. We went out to lunch after, and it was a good afternoon, a good way to kill a Sunday.
That sounds good. I would have enjoyed that, but I'm sorry I couldn't make it. I'm sorry I didn't infect you.
Yeah, and then they're the same people that run that Eternal Con convention that has been on Long Island a bunch of years. You guys have both been to it at one point or another.
Yeah, they just actually put out.
That's what I was just going to say.
Year's,
they just announced July 8th and 9th, and that Todd Stashwick actor that played Captain Shaw, he's going to be there.
I did see that.
And where is
Brent
that one?
Spiner's going to be there. It's on Long Island at Hofstra University. And Brent Spiner is going to be there, and the actor that plays A-Train on The Boys is going to be there. So
I saw that.
and Noah Hathaway. If you need your boxy autograph.
He hasn't been around. Has he been around? We haven't seen him.
Noah Hathaway?
Yeah.
Yes, actually, he was at a show that we went to a couple years ago. I got him to sign my Battlestar poster.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Of course you did.
They are announcing a lot of Rhode Island guests. There's like almost everyone who's been Superman, except in the movies, is going to be at Rhode Island.
Yeah, I'm starting to get excited for Rhode Island. There's actually
Welling and
good
Dean
guests.
Cain and Brandon Routh and the dude who's on Lois and Clark or Lois and Superman and Lois Lane. That dude.
That's
the new
kind
one,
of
the new
cool.
show. And
Julie Newmar's going to be there.
Julie Newmar's gonna be there. She's talking about 83-year-old, 84-year-old women.
And
I met her.
Mignon's
I met
gonna
her
be there.
15 years ago when she was old. When you
Yeah.
talked to her on the phone, Todd.
Yep.
And she was old back then. But
that,
and then they're doing
that photo that you got signed for me is in a book somewhere. It had curled, and I put it in a book to flatten it. And I cannot tell you how much time I've spent trying to find that photo.
You'll never
can
see
get a
it
new
again.
The good thing is you can get the same photo
know,
even
but
though
it's-
she's 15
it's
years
like-
older.
I went to, and it was like it had it almost like curled into a circle, and so I
Well, I wonder why that was.
I put in a book to flatten,
Moisture does that, Todd.
and I could
Jesus, I just nearly choked on the water I was drinking when you said that.
and I could not find it. So, anyways, but it's here somewhere.
Yeah. But they're also doing smaller regional conventions called Somethingopolis, Conopolis.
Oh, I did see that.
There's one in
Yeah,
Massachusetts.
and there's one in Jersey.
There's one in Jersey. There may be others. All done by the same people who do Rhode Island Comic Con. So
Where in
we should
Massachusetts?
just keep an eye on them. What?
Where in Massachusetts?
I don't know. Google Conopolis.
I will do that later.
Conopolis. Conopolis, MA.
Evangeline Lilly's going to be in Rhode Island this year, so
I'm over her, aren't you?
yeah. But I'll still. I didn't. I was thinking like, what would I want to get her to sign? I actually have the Marvel Legends Wasp figure that I might probably get her to sign the package of.
So cool. There's
Yeah.
cons, everybody. It's con season. Go to a con. So check it out. We haven't heard anything about WinterCon, right? They were saying WinterCon's next weekend, and then never happened.
Well, they were also saying last December WinterCon was coming up, and then it just never happened. So
Winter is not coming.
yeah, apparently they canceled winter.
Yep.
Let's do a couple minutes on two shows, right?
Yep.
Two, a show and a movie. So we talked a little bit about it. So sort of action adventure things, series Citadel and movie Ghosted. I've certainly watched Ghosted. I've watched most of Citadel. I think I have not yet watched this past weekend.
I think there's 5 episodes out. I think
Five. I think I've watched
I'm only
4.
two.
and I've seen 3.
So let's talk. We've all seen Ghosted. So, I mean, it's if you want to sit there and eat some popcorn and be a little mindless and have some fun, I thought it was perfectly fine.
It's a total popcorn action movie.
Total
It's ridiculous.
I
but-
don't think this pretends to be anything other than what it is, and I think it's two extremely attractive people.
I could look at and do either one of them.
But with I wasn't going there. But anyways, the plot's not a stretch. You don't have to think much. The cameos in it are freaking brilliant. I just like
The spoilers or not spoilers, I don't know, but
I like seeing Chris Evans in the non-hero role.
Yes.
Which is
And this
a
was
I love
different
the fact that
departure for him.
it's reversed. So the girl is the spy and taking care of sort of the normal dude. I love that.
Yes.
And the artist is just great.
and she is amazing.
She's so cute. She's charming. Both of them.
Yep.
The revolving restaurant was a little much.
You know, though, I have
but-
actually been in revolving restaurants and thought, like, why doesn't anyone film an action scene in a revolving? I've actually thought that before. Because,
Yeah.
like,
I'm pretty sure that building would have ripped itself apart way before it ever got
I
there.
don't think there's any way possible to get that thing moving so fast that it's like a
But
centrifuge.
it was good. It was fun. It was fun, and like I said, I've been watching a lot of made-for-home movies since COVID in the movie theater downstairs, and most have sucked. And this one was fun. It was a good time. It was fun.
It's worth watching.
And that's just it. It's worth watching. And like I said, there's some cameos in there. I won't spoil it. That I think are hilarious, and and they work really well when they work. I guess 4 really when you think about it, including the other ex-boyfriend who shows up at the end, near the end, and I like I said, I found it thoroughly enjoyable. I mean, it's not great, but it's
good action. It's got a romantic.
It's an action comedy.
Elements.
It's an
It's
action
fun.
comedy with a kind of romantic thing in there. And
There's been a bunch of those. There was that one with Ryan Reynolds and The Rock and
it just
some other
like
girl.
I said, there's no point in this movie where it takes itself too seriously,
Yeah.
and I think that's where you go wrong with something like that. And it works. And I will say it was interesting seeing Amy Sedaris do something other than the Star Wars character.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, she was not Pelimoto in this.
yeah. So, but yeah. Again,
Definitely worth watching.
I think it's worth watching. I think it's better than the ratings it's getting at the moment. So, you could
it's not
you could do worse with 2 hours of your time.
for sure. And then Citadel, who was produced by the Russo brothers, so I had a lot of high hopes for it.
Likewise.
I'm not saying it's bad. It's not as good as I thought it was going to be at all.
Okay, so I'm 2 in. Barry, you're 3 in.
Yep.
Should we keep watching?
In the scheme of what's out there, I think it's better than some things. It's
not
that is
total
a
trash,
that
is
is a
what David
hell of an
saying.
endorsement.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm like it's something
better
I'm
than
watching,
oral
and I'm
surgery.
like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'll watch it.
So and my thing was I watched the first episode and was like, okay. Wasn't sure I was going to go back and watch anymore until we were texting last night about what we were going to talk about today. And then I was like,
Really?
all right. I had nothing to do last night, so I was like, oh, I'll watch a couple more episodes. It's okay. It's
okay. It really sort of with its pedigree of, I mean, Russo Brothers producing, Richard Madden and Priyanka, whatever her name is,
Priyanka Chopra Jonas.
Priyanka. You got freaking what's his face,
Stanley Tucci, who I always like. Yeah,
all good, but it's just not. It could be great.
It's just like how many shows and or movies can we watch where somebody gets killed, but then the next episode you find out, they weren't really dead.
Yeah, they're spies, so they're just about unkillable. But I would say this feels comic booky. It really does. The action is comic booky. And it's like I thought the Russo brothers were adopting a style for the work they were doing for Marvel, and this might be what their style is.
Well, this show is certainly not shying away from blood.
It's not shying away from blood, but I'm saying
I thought it would be a
like,
little more like sort of how Winter Soldier was like really a spy sort of movie, and it's not.
Right, and that's where. But whereas this is, like I said, this is like cliche spy like, and
It's a little, yeah.
and it's just not, you know. I mean, we've seen spy stuff done much better than this.
Yeah.
And it's really just an excuse to have two very good looking people walk around on screen a lot. And, you know, and banter and, you know, whatever else. And the premise is fairly what I've seen. I've only seen 2 episodes. The premise is fairly thin. The idea that 7-year-old nuclear codes still work, that, you know, that not only are the nuclear codes in the suitcase, but so are these vials that apparently can that can restore your memory.
And the suitcase also knows the whereabouts of every single spy in
Every
the
single
network.
spy, and that's what I'm saying. It's just it's comic book.
There's a lot in that suitcase. Shouldn't have lost it.
There's a lot in that suitcase. You know, that's the kind of, like I said, absurd stuff that, like, you know, when they went to the vault inside the storage units, and it was this like big kind of like ching ching ching. You know, it was like, dude, you know, you're hiding something inside storage units, but you make it look like this massive, huge, like vault thing. It was just weird.
It's silly. It's silly with a lot of violence.
Yeah, and that's just
It's
it. But again, like I said,
cartoony violence,
it's yes, and that's the thing. And I think you know, there were a lot of in Ghosted. You know, they did a lot of shooting of people where you didn't actually see the people get shot so much. You saw like people shoot in that direction, or you saw people go ooh and then fall over behind a piece of furniture and stuff like that. It was not quite G.I. Joe cartoon level where everybody shoots at everybody and nobody really gets hit, but this, you know, it's a lot more graphic, but not necessarily more effective. So, and again, that might be different. That might be different.
What's a show that has done this better? I'm not saying. I just can't think right now. Like, what's like a show that's done this sort of action adventure spy thing? I just can't think. Not that I'm saying this is the one. It's certainly not the one. Not to put us all on the spot, but
I mean,
has anyone done like the secret agent spy in a modern show well? I guess, you know,
Homeland did for I mean, that felt like espionage.
That's almost okay. I'm talking more with action. I mean, I think 24. It wasn't spy, but if you really, that's more what the vein of this. That did it very well, even though that's how many years ago? That's a very long time ago. But that did it very well.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think because there's a lot of people trying to do this. I mean, we watched The Night Agent, which was fine, probably better than this.
I would say it's better than this.
The Recruit, which was probably worse than this, or the same, or not as fun. You know, even what's the thing, The Bodyguard, which was not exactly the same, but a little better writing, not as much action. I think a lot of people are trying to take a stab at this sort of action spy. Even Jack Ryan's not great. I don't think any season has been
Jack
great.
Ryan pushes the boundaries of credibility at times, and there's certain conventions which I got to say kind of cross over from the books. Like, as I always say, him being the smartest person in a room, no matter whether it's a room full of PhDs or not. But this just is, you know, like I said, the technology and stuff like that is just, like I said, it's almost cartoonish.
It's a little over the top. Yeah, I'm trying to. I mean, maybe someone needs to do this much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I wouldn't say not.
You know what this is?
Watch
it's
it.
like
if you're looking for something to watch. It's mindless, but it's not like
it's not hard. I'm planned on finishing, and I've got these. I'm watching a bunch of shows. Some I will like. I watched this. I finished that Jennifer Garner show, which was good. It was not. It's more like a personal thriller.
Okay.
It's not, but it was good. She's good.
I finished Titans this weekend.
You did.
Yeah, I did.
So I will say this about Titans. If I didn't realize we were going to go there, I think I have one more to go.
We're not going there because I haven't seen any of it.
I have one more to go. This was one of the things I didn't expect was that this was going to be Greg Berlanti's goodbye. Okay, and I think that's a lot of what we're seeing in here.
Good riddance.
is I think he there's a lot of things pulled in that I didn't expect, and it's just there's things happening here I kind of expected to see that would happen in Flash, and maybe are also happening in Flash.
Watch Flash?
What's that?
Have we all given up on Flash?
We've all given no, but what I'm saying in terms of
yeah, me too.
He's a number of his properties are addressed in this, is what I'm saying, and
right.
in ways I didn't anticipate, and but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it's not terrific. And again, I haven't seen the last episode, but I'm close. So,
Okay. Well, again, watch Ghosted. If Citadel, unless you have 10 things to watch, I think it's worth watching. I mean, I don't have a ton I'm watching right now. I've been trying a bunch of stuff. Well, maybe we'll do that next time. We'll dig into the stuff we're trying.
Yeah.
Because I have like 1, 2, 3 other than this stuff.
I've got a few things too.
But as June rolls around, there's more stuff coming. There's right.
Yes.
There's, There's Secret Invasions. It's June, right?
Yep.
What else? Anything else? There's got to be other stuff.
Yeah, we'll run it down. We'll figure it out. Run it down.
Yeah,
In fact,
we'll go
it's
through all
probably
that stuff.
it's by June we should be talking about what we'd be seeing over the summer. So both movies and TV. So
Yep. Cool. Well, there you go. 2 mediocre recommendations.
Yeah.
Let's do a quick round of what's in the box.
Show you in the box. Who's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box?
Regular Joe's What's in the Box.
Todd, what do you got?
okay, this is a little mini Black Widow statue. It's about 10 inches tall. It's from Iron Studios. Why did I buy this, Dave? Where did I buy? Why did I buy this? And what did I
It's the gun.
buy? Yes, I bought it
And
to
the
put
ass.
it in the display case next to the screen use gun. And so it's actually one of a series.
I'm looking at my case.
So it's one of a series, and she's basically from the Avengers. It's that scene where they do the kind of the spin around, and you see all the Avengers back to back. Okay, just before they split up. So they've made, or they're in the process of making, all of those figures, and the bases fit together.
Oh, that's cool.
And I will not buy all the others. So, but I had a bunch of credits stacked up at Sideshow, and they did a pretty good job on it.
No, that looks good.
It looks good.
Well, does that come off the base?
It
or
comes
no?
off the base. Yep.
You're going to put it off the base in the?
No, I'm going to put it on the base in there, but because
Send me a picture.
it's got a foot pin.
See how it looks.
But yeah, no, it's like I said, it's nice, and they've got all the other characters, and I thought about like getting all of them because that would be kind of a cool thing. Have that circle, even be really cool displayed on like a little turntable thing. Because I've got
It'd
one
be
of those.
cool to have. Now I have a Black Widow prop.
Yep.
I have a Thor prop, and I have a Captain America prop.
So
Put
you
each
need all
one of
three.
those
You
with
need
all
all 3 of those, and
Yeah.
That would be cool.
yeah, they're not super expensive, and I think they do a really good job with them. Iron Studios is great, and but anyways, so it's cool, and it's a nice size. It's very, very small, and they do a good job with that stuff. So that's my thing. Barry, what do you got?
So we got tipped off about a week or so ago from one of our listeners that Big Chief Studios, who I'd never bought anything from, I think you both have some Doctor Who figures,
I
right?
have 2 Doctor.
That they
couple
were
Doctors. And James Bond.
and James Bond, right? They were running a sale on their Flash Gordon figures, which I had always wanted, and literally like a week prior, almost bought at full price.
Really?
Yeah, because I had been eyeing them up for a long time. They were expensive, and you can't really get them direct. I guess you could go through Sideshow maybe, but otherwise, if you go through them direct, you're paying taxes and shipping and all. So they were literally 50% off. I was able to get our man Flash Gordon.
Oh, wow.
Here,
I
from
thought
Big
about
Chief.
doing it, but I just kind of bailed on it, the idea.
He's, I mean, it looks good. It looks like the character. There's 2 versions of him. There's this one, which is the Savior of the Universe version, and then there's the other one, which has the white T-shirt with the football.
Nah, this is the good
I
one
thought
with the
this
sword.
was the way to go. He's got the sword
for sure.
The arms are done in a way that you can, bend them, and you don't see the crease all that much in the
Yeah,
arm.
yeah.
So it's actually, it's not It's not like the rubbery arms,
Yeah.
but it looks pretty good. My only complaint about Flash is that the color of this flesh tone on the face doesn't exactly match the rest of the body that much.
Yeah.
And since he's in a tank top, you kind of notice it a little bit, but not bad. But he's a cool figure. But really, the figure that you want right here is Ming.
Oh, you
the
got
Merciless.
both.
You
Wow.
got Ming. Wow.
You know what?
The Ming figure is real. The costume is great.
I got the two of them for the price of what I would have paid for one of them. I mean,
Where
it
were
was
they?
crazy.
I thought they were shipping from the UK.
They did, and they got here in a week.
But was it expensive shipping?
No, I'll be honest. I mean, I ended up breaking down with shipping to about $160 a figure.
That's not bad.
These are like 260 something.
Right, yeah. I
Yeah.
think they probably overestimated the market for these things. And,
Yeah, the Ming figure is ridiculous. He's
That's
so cool.
awesome.
That is very
And
cool.
They both come with these stands, which I'm using for Ming just because he's a little top heavy. The stands are a bit big, but they're kind of cool because they have this like clear lucite nameplate, and let's see if it'll work.
Oh, it lights up.
It lights up. There's LEDs in the bottom of it, and it lights up the nameplate. It's I don't think it's coming across on camera, but you know, I was super happy to get these for like under $300 for both, or was a little over $300 for both figures. But you know, when they were considering, they were like, if you they're still available right now on Sideshow for like $260 a piece or whatever.
Really?
So.
I gotta see where they're located. Maybe I may be in the neighborhood.
Oh yeah,
in the
check
near
it
future.
out. But yeah, you know what? For what I paid for them, I'm really happy with them.
No, those are awesome. I thought about it too.
They're not quite
and then I
Hot
saw
Toys
pounds
quality.
and
They're close to Hot Toys quality, and for what I paid for them, I'm super happy with them. So
that's
anyway,
cool.
so I think it was Doug Monroe, our friend Doug, who actually sent us that. So
Thank you, Doug.
Dave, what do you got?
Oh, okay. I've had this for a while, and I guess I bought this after I was listening to the Props podcast, but I never have the Lucasfilm Archives book. I never had.
Oh, I've had that book for like 15 or 20 years.
And it's not always easy to get. I think it's out of print, but I was able to go on Amazon, and it's hit or miss. I think I got a bookseller who's selling it for pretty much, cover price or under cover price. So if you check it out, it's called From Star Wars to Indiana Jones, the best of the Lucasfilm Archives. Got a bunch of pictures from the archives and stuff. It's definitely a must for the library.
There's a lot of Star Wars books out there. There aren't many books that have pictures from the Indiana Jones archive. So that's like the only book that I know of that really has indie props in it. So
so check it out on Amazon. There's always some bookseller who sort of sells through Amazon. I got it for a really good price. Sometimes it's higher, sometimes it's lower, but check that out.
That's a great book.
Yeah. Cool. All right, all good stuff. So we're going to, as we get into the summer, we're going to talk about summer shows coming up, summer movies coming up. We got Indiana Jones coming up. We're going to do some Indiana Jones podcasts. We're going to do more 10th anniversary podcasts. We got lots more to do. And when we all retire, we're going to do this like 3 days a week.
Sure.
Anyway, no. So look forward to all of that stuff. And thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
A man getting bit by an alligator and he screams. Okay, quiet. Hey, quiet. Stood out towards me. Okay, right in the middle of your head.
Ah! Ah!
The first one you did up here was much better.
Oh!
No, not an owl. A real scream of pain.